goal today, but we've had to adjust it in certain ways. So a bit of the old tradition is gone, but that's unfortunate, but we have to move on. I'd like to remind you if you can get two pieces of paper and a pencil or a pen, because on one of them, you write what you want in the burning bowl, a denial. And on the other, something, an affirmation that you feel that you want to take through for the year. I've got a couple here to just inspire you. This is from an old burning bowl sheet I found in the library. I now release and let go of everything that is blocking the awareness of God in my life. I deserve to fulfill my destiny. I seek and find what I need within me. I accept peace and joy in all aspects of my life. So there's just a couple of examples of that. And here's something more positive. Thank you, God, for your inexhaustible goodness. Your grace is sufficient for me. Your love never ends, and so it is that I confidently declare all is well. And another old favourite that many of us have used over the years, there is not a spot where God is not, and so it is that wherever I am, God is, and all is well. And so it is. So before we get on to the burning bowl, which is behind me, we'll get a better view of it later. I've taken a quote called, "Behold, I make everything new." And the symbology of this for me is it's from Revelation 21, verse 5, and 215 was our first telephone number in Penguin, Tasmania. It's a very auspicious number. So here it is, behold, I make all things new. Now, those of us on the path of conscious awareness and unfoldment have found that as our consciousness expands, we see what already is and has been, but from a newer perspective. And isn't it interesting how I've watched parents with families when they have children, which is a big responsibility, and they can actually predict what that child is going to do and sort of watch over and give it guidance in the meantime, because they have been there, done that. And as they've moved on, they've seen what people are going through, and we've got people that have moved on in life that are probably doing the same thing that we are. There's an old song, we won't do it, I think we've done it before. I don't know whether Beverly did it, but it's called "Everything Old is New Again." Don't we know it? Everything changes. Our friends, fashions, family, people, customs. Like today, where we've changed our custom, which we've been doing here for over 10 years, while I've been here anyway, this particular form of burning bowl. Everything changes, our body changes. Now, in this garden of earthly delights, we can forget that our body is just a vehicle, but an amazing one for our time here, for our soul growth. It's our spacesuit. But anyway, wherever we go, our body will be what we need at that time to manifest whichever plane we're on. Spirit will use whatever materials to express itself in. And I love the one that's written by Persian Sufi Rumi, and he says, which I'm going to quote, "I died as a mineral and became a plant. I died as a plant and became an animal. I died as an animal and became human. Why should I fear? When was I less of dying? Yet once more I shall die as a human, to soar with the angels blessed. But even from angelhood, I must pass on. All except God perishes. Everything begins and ends in spirit." Now, we've got some wonderful people in our congregation, and they're quite ahead with the latest trends in what's going on in the world. And we're quite connected here, being part of Unity, with what's going on overseas. And there's some vital spiritual leaders we've all kept up with, especially in our book club, where we've come across certain ideas which have certainly thrown cold water on some of the old ways of talking about things, but we're now seeing science catching up with what the mystics of the past have already known. Now, the dictionary defines science as knowledge, coordinated, arranged, and systematized. Now, the first law of thermodynamics, knowledge, coordinated, arranged, and systematized. I beg your pardon. The first law of thermodynamics is the law that governs natural science. This law states that energy, which we call God, is either changed from one form to another or transformed from one system to another. Energy cannot be destroyed. Nothing perishes. The dictionary also defines divine as that which pertains to God. So this divine science is found in just about every holy book in the universe for those who have eyes and ears to perceive them. For example, Revelations 22:13, I am the beginning and the end, the first and the last. In Hebrews, Christ, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And a loose translation from Buddha's Cosmic Wheel of Life I like to use quite often. Nothing is lost in the universe. Everything is continually changing. And all these changes are following the law of cause and effect. The outer form may change, but the inner form, which is God's thought, mind, remains the same. Now, there's been much nostalgia over the year in the media, old photos from the past, history, personalities, all these people, sportsmen. And do you know, it's taken this year for me to realise and look back and see some of the wonderful biographies, you know, of cricket players, ex-governor generals and all those people, that if we'd have gone on like we had, we wouldn't have had a chance to really think about what's shaped our country over these millennia. We've had our Indigenous people bringing forth wonderful truths for us in the most wonderful ways, and other nationalities too have shared their time with us. And because of this wonderful Zoom, we've been able to connect with people around the world and do things that we wouldn't have thought of doing before. Now, one thing is for sure, that this divine wisdom is the same. It was yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We are just discovering more and more of it. Those of you who remember the book The Secret, Rhonda Byrne, she was a Melbourne journalist, and I think she worked at Channel 9 for quite a few years. She had a book out called The Secret. Well, what's the next book called? The Greatest Secret. And it got a review in last Thursday's Herald Sun. I think it was more of an advertorial, but it's very interesting because there is nothing new under the sun here. There's some things that as truth seekers, we could probably talk about when we have our book club, but some say, why another book? Well, I say, why not? Let's get it out there. This is in mainstream, in all the bookshops. And it's got nothing that's not in those books down the back here in our own library. Some of them are so old, I don't think they've ever been out. But Diane is coming in during the week to check the library out. And I'm sure as she looks through some of those old tomes, she'll remember words of wisdom that come up in just about every new modern author. We've been reading about Greg Braden and Neville Goddard, and there's heaps of others that we all come across in our spiritual curiosity. Some of the questions they asked Rhonda Byrne was, what is the greatest secret? And how does it connect to the secret? And they then ask her, how much of your own experience went into this journey of your putting together this book? Who is the greatest secret aimed at? In the greatest secret, you mention religious leaders from Jesus Christ to Buddha. What are your feelings about religion? And nothing there that we don't already know, but it's nice to know that it's out there in mainstream. So there it is. There's Rhonda Byrne. You probably won't be able to see her, but there she is. That was her. And I look forward to the success of that, because you never know where these books turn up and who reads them where and when. And they're seeds that are sown in the minds of people. Seeds that are sown. They may not come to fruit straight away, but they're there. Okay, we've been talking about change this year. Behold, I make all things new. We all go through different stages. Some say there's 4 stages of life, but one thing I've noticed with myself is how much I have changed. Now, in my 70s, I don't have the energy to run around like I used to even 5 years ago. I'd rather read a book than do housework. That's why you're not allowed to come to my place just yet. The kitchen floor still hasn't been done, but now it's got to the point where the carpet needs cleaning. So I can't get out of it, and I won't feel happy until I do it. Now, some of my friends have downsized. Dear friend Mari, who I used to know in the spiritualist church, after all these years, she said, Bill, I don't need a house this big anymore. And some of my younger friends, even in their 50s, are all looking at this next stage of their life. I am too, but I'm not quite ready yet, because it will be a big move for me. Because I'd rather do something I enjoy than doing housework or something that obligations I need to fulfill, which don't really satisfy me. I want to cultivate my inner spiritual nature, like the rest of you who are on here. That's what we're doing here. That's why you've come on this morning. The right place at the right time. You've taken the time to get out, because wasn't it nice in bed? Doesn't that bed call us? 7 o'clock. Another half hour. 7:30. Look, I think I'll be all right if I go now. Make it 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. Okay, everything's all right. Well, I found out today I left it a little bit later than usual. So here we are. I think everything's in order. But what I'm pleased about is that we've all come together at this time as one to share our spiritual energy, and we know that we're in the right direction with our wonderful teachings. This world is a world of duality. And I noticed in some of Rhonda Byrne's answers, she talks about being happy, almost to the point of being perpetually happy. Well, in a world of dualities, that's not really the case. What we can control is our attitude to what happens to us. There is our power, regardless of whether we have days that are diamonds or days that are stone, as we've talked about in the past. That power in us is what we have to see our attitude through the day. And it's helped so many people over the last 12 months. The gifts of spirit and the gifts of grace are always with us. And we can take conscious dominion over our attitude to whatever happens in life, because we're here in this wonderful mystery school of Mother Earth. It is a school. But what a great school, a garden of earthly delights. I love using that. And we are very blessed to have this ancient wisdom which pops up time to time with a new name, but it's always there, and we are able to access it. We can access it as we navigate through the blessings and challenges of our unfoldment here as spiritual beings on this planet Earth. Now we come to the interesting part. There's a bit of moving around, I think, and it's the burning bowl ceremony. Now, in preparation for this, you've got your bits of paper there, I hope, and your pencils, but here we can experience the joy of releasing negative patterns. And we do this through the activity of the burning bowl. By writing on a piece of paper what attitudes of mind we desire to release from our consciousness, then we touch it to the flame of the physical fire You can do that symbolically, or you can reach out in spirit to our one here. We burn off these negative thought patterns as we are ready to release through the positive affirmation state of mind resented by fire. The ancient mystics wrote of the phoenix bird, who regenerated itself through fire. And we know fire, air, earth, and water are vital parts of our being, and these are very symbolic in spiritual rituals through every culture. According to legend, the phoenix bird regenerated itself through fire. When it felt its life drawing to a close at 500 years, which is a good run, it built a funeral pyre of wood and aromatic gums, which it lighted with the fanning of its wings, consuming itself in the fire. From its ashes, a new phoenix bird arose with renewed life. To the ancient mystics, the phoenix bird represented a symbol of immortality of the human soul. The mystic rite of the phoenix fire was regarded as a process equivalent to human regeneration. In metaphysical understanding, we reach that point in consciousness where the desire to let go of false concepts or ideas, at that point where they've reached the end of their life, but they're still lingering around, we want to get rid of them. So we can withdraw the energy from them through this symbolic process of the consuming fire and its flame. They die to the old false belief and are regenerated and resurrected into the purifying energy of the flame for our use. It's a process of release and transmutation. Now, I'd like you to take a moment to write down, while Jenny's going to play some meditation music for us, while you go into meditation and write down what you'd like released from the burning bowl. Thank you, Jenny. So I hope you make use of this wonderful time and the combined energy of us all. And from our Unity manual, which has been in my library all these years, I'm going to quote, "The past is over. I plan to tomorrow and live for today. All my experiences are allowing me to become a stronger and wiser person. I let go of attachments. I create room for fulfillment and soulful experiences. I let go easily, for I trust that new and exciting opportunities are on their way. Now, there's a bit of an unrehearsed thing here. Now, Jenny, have you got a second? Would you like to come down? What we're going to do here is usually you get a little Shabbat candle, which is small, and you walk away with a little blessing on it. But I'm going to honour those who lit the candles for our candle lighting ceremony. We're going to light a candle for the disciple and the person that lit it. So are you able to do that for us? And I'll quote. Now, can you see Jenny? There we are. The first candle is Peter Faith. That's it. And we'd like to thank Rad for lighting that candle representing faith. The second candle, Andrew, strength. And this was lit by Jeanette. So Andrew, of course, who represents strength. The third candle is judgment, wisdom. And thank you to William. We honour you for your work with us this year. And James, son of Zebedee. And the fourth candle is John Love. This candle was lit for John, who represents divine love. And Diane, thank you for lighting that candle. Reverend Sylvia, you lit the candle for Philip, which represents power. Bartholomew, who represented imagination, was lit by Robin Wren. Thomas, representing understanding, was lit by Norma Anderson. The next candle, Matthew, representing will, was lit by Jill Bartholomew's. Thank you, Jill. James, representing order, was lit by Beverly Sheehan. Simon, representing zeal, was lit by Miyu. There's a few hard lumps in there. Thaddeus, representing elimination, was lit by Wendy Stewart. And Judas, representing life, was lit by Lorraine. So I'll bring the camera a little bit closer for you. There we are. I'll get the burning bowl in there. And some of you have candles. That looks beautiful, Ursula. And there we are. Hopefully next year we can all come up and light our own candles and get back into the old symbolism. But everything changes. But behold, I make everything new. So thank you, everybody. Hope you enjoyed our adaptation of the Burning Bowl ceremony for 2021. Thank you. Now I'll move back to my chair.